Hello, welcome to UK Versus. Today we're joined by a very special guest. We have the star of the Chicago Regional and host of What's the Wub. We have Kalvin, aka Wub. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm a bit knackered. It's getting close to 11 o'clock at night, but
Thanks for staying up for me. I appreciate it.
some people have just finished their workday, so I'm sure you're just
Yeah,
as
yeah,
tired.
yeah.
So you've got back from Chicago. You've had a couple of days to let everything kind of sink in. Let's rewind to before Chicago. What were your thoughts going in? Was Reiner always kind of locked in, or did you experiment with other decks?
Yeah. So if people have followed my LC results, or if they were snooping around, they saw I played a lot of Pumat. I love that character. He's a lot of fun. And then I went to my local LC at Gaming Giant and got kind of smacked around by Reiner, and it was like to the point that I was like, I don't know if Pumon even has that great of a Titan of Terror matchup. I know there's going to be a good amount of Titan of Terror. And I messed around with the Reiner deck, and I'm like, this also does what I want to do. Let's give it a shot. And it went obviously way better than I expected. I thought it would do decently, but just kept winning. It's like, okay, here we go. But yeah.
I mean, yeah, I was streaming the Patriot LC in March, and I got Marley on Rhino against Angus, as I call him,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just got to smash through it. The hardest trouble was if you didn't get to transform early enough, but as you proved, sometimes Rhino doesn't need to transform to win games.
Yeah, that final turn, I did not think I truly could get there. And as I played each attack, I'm like, this might actually be 28. And I realized I needed 2 5s in the top. I'm like, this is it, or we're going game 3. I just wasn't even using Reiner to flip at that point. I'm like, I don't care. We're either I'm dying here if Kalvin gets another turn, So
yeah,
it can happen. Totally can.
Yeah, exactly. So it happens sometimes you just draw hot. We call it essentially the Godzilla problem. Sometimes you just have the nuts and your opponent dies.
Yep.
So you were quite right in suspecting that there was going to be a lot of Titan Terrors. Over 20% of the field was Godzilla Titan Terror. When going in with the team, TTP, Team Trading Post, were they all rocking up with Titan Terror, or were they all coming up with their own spice to handle Titan Terror?
I mean, I think some of them really enjoyed Pumat and were playing that a bit, but for the most part, I think the consensus was Titan of Terror is just such a comfy deck where it just does the same thing every game, and that's so good for an event like this where you're going to have 8-9 rounds of Swiss. If your deck is just consistent that whole time, that's exactly what you want. So I don't blame anyone for showing up with Titan of Terror. I think it made the most sense.
If you're going to be playing 8 or 9 rounds, why not finish in 10 minutes and just have a
yeah,
bit of a break?
No, totally.
And then you also got Mitchell, of course, who was playing himself, because why wouldn't you?
Of course, yeah. I can't talk him off that character. He loves it. Well, he didn't for a while, but now with Queen of the Monsters and Protector of Life and Census, so suddenly he's like, this is doing everything I want. And I'm like, great.
Yeah,
go for it, dude.
I remember when I was speaking to him last year about designing the character, he really wanted a reason to play it on good, and he was trying to force it on good early last year, and it just wasn't there because the support wasn't there. Now, Reiner Kaiju's coming and gone, here's a bunch of amazing good cards. He's like, this is my moment.
Yeah. And he keeps doing pretty well, but I think the challenge with that character is there are so many little decisions that matter so much because you're playing this like longer control game, and that makes it kind of the opposite of Titan of Terror in a Swiss event where it's really hard and one tiny mistake is something you can beat yourself up over, cause you to lose a round. Whereas Tot just doesn't make a check, so I'll just pick this one up, put it in,
Yeah, it's something I've always said about this game when it comes down to control is with aggro, everything needs to go right with your hand, and you need to have the attacks at the time. With control, everything has to go right all the time, and it has to follow your plan exactly. One grain of sand, and your Swiss watch falls apart.
Yeah. But he enjoys the deck, so it's great.
So you get into the event, you see everybody there. Did you play in teams?
I didn't. I had to work Friday too, so I flew in Friday night. But I was watching some of the team streams. It looked like a good time. Everything I heard about this event was hugely positive. I think Levi's strategy with these events is great. I just wish he could do more of them. I wish he could bring them overseas, of course.
So. Yeah, it does suck we don't have them over here, but it's great to see how much of an improvement they're making and constantly making. I mean, regionals this year if you take it 2 years back, are a completely different beast, and they are more player driven than results driven. So you get in Friday nights, everyone kind of have the chill. I know that team training post you guys love to socialize and to have your drinks and your chats and your jokes and just. Did you actually get any sleep, or was it just fun all night?
Well, we kind of have a tradition where we do our deck list at like 11 p.m. because they do it at midnight. So we sort of don't decide our sideboards until right then when we're sitting in the hotel room chatting. So we'll try and get some sleep, but like that's like where we say we do our best work. We come up with the one of that matters or something.
Was there any last minute changes to Reiner?
Yeah, actually, I put Edenbox in the side, and that card was insane. I actually wish I'd sided a second one. That one was so good every time it was on the table.
So how was Swiss? How were the matchups? Are there any memorable matchups for you?
Yeah, I had a lot of interesting ones. I played Keith Disbro on Jester. I played a Bridget that started infiniting me on round 2 after my round 1 bye, and I was like, oh my gosh, I might just die. Like I might just be dead. I was at full life. He puts a timely counterattack on the table and says, let's see if I can kill you. And I was like, what? And he actually got pretty close. It was really scary. Very funnily enough, my Swiss run didn't include a Titan of Terror until I ID'd in round 8 versus Travis. So I went into the next day and I was like, I think my deck's pretty good into Titan of Terror, but I haven't played one, and my friends are all going to laugh at me if the first time I play a Titan of Terror in this tournament, I lose. So fortunately, I was proven wrong. Top 8, top 4 finals was all taught, and I made it through. But I was expecting that. I was like, oh, I'm going to play one taught and lose, and that'll be what it is.
But then that also speaks to, although Titan Tower being like 23% of the board, it speaks to the diversity of this game, and the matter that the other 87% was out in full force.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I assume Jester won for the Jester matchup?
Yeah, Keith Disrose on Jester 1 and picking up tension moves, Gunflame Feints, and kind of chaining them and stuff. It was a really cool deck. I just think against a deck like Reiner, if you don't have a plan that kills me very quickly and I start to flip, I accumulate so much value and I do so much damage on very little progressive. Thunderspear Barrages are 5 high 6s without any stat changes or anything. It's very easy to make an inevitability plan versus a control deck. So it would just be challenging for a deck like Jester to get there, I think, in that matchup.
Although it wasn't a major impact, the City Rampage nerf really did hurt Jester, because she doesn't just get to go City Rampage and now I'll just play a bunch of tension attacks and make
just stroke. Yeah.
I just go,
I can see it.
Because Trev at the Patriot LC was also running one, and he made it so he was running on Poco and Jaunty Trickster and Team Rival. So not only was he just picking up tension attacks, none of them counted towards progressive.
Yeah. I also played against a Nagoriyuki that one built, including an airship, and almost killed me on 2 with 1 foundation. I was like, oh my gosh, please stop. So, didn't quite get there, but he was close. It was.
So despite not running into any tiny towers, it wasn't an easy Swiss. There was a lot of cool stuff in Swiss that could have had you if the checks or the draws had just gone a little bit better, differently.
No, totally. I say this when I'm giving advice to people on tournaments and stuff. Like, you can't control the luck side of it. Sometimes it goes your way. It did my way this weekend, but like there are plenty of people who prepared as much as me or better, and their checks just didn't go that way, or their matchups.
Yeah.
So it's about putting yourself in that position where it all goes right and you actually get there.
Yeah, it's why we do our ratios of attacks to foundations. Aggressives go a little bit higher, because we can't control luck, but we can mitigate it the best we can.
Yeah. Yep.
So Swiss wraps up. Like you said, you're going into top cuts. How are you feeling round 8, watching all the other games? Like you said, you ID'd, so you're just watching everyone. Were there any win and ins or particular matches you were kind of focusing on to see if they were going to get in?
Well, we were really interested in Kalvin's winning a match, Kalvin Tahan, because his opponent was Jake Hyatt on Air Rodan, and it was aggro Air Rodan. It was killing him. And it was actually like maybe 1 3 check away from just killing him and winning and going into top cuts, but there was a 3 on top at a bad point, and it put him in a bad position defensively, and Kalvin took it the next turn. That deck looked amazing though. Like I came up to him after, I was like, dude, this deck looks crazy. You you had a great run, even if you didn't quite get there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I imagine there's a lot of very cool decks that were on the bubble that were just 1 5 check away from shaking everything up.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Top cuts get announced. You see the top 16, and you see 9 Titan Terrors throughout there. Another Reiner up there, which might have made you a bit happy. How are you feeling looking at the board going, between me and that first place, there's a bunch of Titans?
Yeah. Well, I've had 2 matches now where I was just off getting my Worlds invite, because Worlds last year I lost. It was actually something where I think there was maybe a way I could have made it to top 8, which meant I would have had my Worlds invite. Then an LC where I lost in the finals as well. So this top 16, you had to win to get a Worlds invite to make it to top 8. I was like, oh no, here we go again. I'm just going to lose in top 16. And my opponent is Tim Keefe, who, yes, he's going second in the Reiner mirror, but Tim Keefe is a brilliant opponent, probably one of the people I'm most afraid of facing. So I was like, let's take it one game at a time. I am scared of tomorrow, but let's see how it goes. Always a pleasure playing Tim, but yeah, I do consider him terrifying when we sit down to play.
For such a nice and humble looking guy, he has a terrifying aura. I mean, you can tell how he's justified the free champ character cards.
Yeah.
And when he does make content, because he is a content creator, but very sporadically, people pay attention because he's earned that position in the community of he knows what he's talking about. I'd be in the exact same situation. If I saw Tim Keefe was my next opponent, I'd be like, I need to play very well and very carefully.
And then immediately after that, so I get through, and that match was super interesting. I actually win at 2-0. It was still pretty close at times. He could have taken the first game with, there were a few times he put me on check of 5 to live. But my top 8 opponent was Barlow Guess, who's a good friend, and also the person I handed what I thought was the best Todd deck in the room a few days before. So again, and he's going first, and I'm like, oh no, here we go again. It was the whole way down. Top 4 was Travis Tangeman. Same thing. I'm like, oh no, here we go.
So you just had essentially a line of some of the best players as well as people personally, because Barlow was one of the players that came over to Glasgow, and fair play to him. Absolutely solid guy. Could have kind of pulled a bit of a maneuver to get into top 8, but decided to take a step back in Glasgow and did a proper integrity move.
Yeah, real stand-up guy. I'm so proud of him for doing that, of course. It made his life so much tougher, and then he just went to the LCQ for Worlds and got there anyway. So it's like, sure.
Exactly. I mean, I guess there's some kind of advantage to you handing Barlow the deck, because that means every single card in that deck and how it's going to function. But at the same time, TOT is kind of like King of Monsters. It goes, you kind of already know what's in there and what his game plan is.
Yeah. And, he changed a couple things, but it was like, he wasn't sure what to play. He's like, do I just play Tot? I'm like, yeah, probably. And then we sit down and go, I think these are all the good ones. Put these in. So in my mind, it was the best Tot against what I was doing. And I was just like, oh my gosh. He had 4 Radiant Visage and 4 Armor-Clad Faith. And those cards are so good against Reiner at stopping him from getting that early transform with the tension moves.
Yeah, just basically, you don't get your momentum, and if you do generate, you go, Radiant Visage, the critical roll category goes, it's gone. Because although you have got power tokens and you've got that new card type to help you get there, you still require the momentum, which is a great way of keeping you off transforming. However,
and just one turn can mean you lose, right? Because if you don't flip on that turn, he can just kill you on that, on the next one, and it's,
But once you transform and you've got this static now 5 damage, it's an absolute monster.
It's crazy. Probably the best character in the game once you flip,
Yeah, I mean, it's the first thing that everyone kind of identified when power tokens were going. It's when you stage so Reiner, right? They count for him. It's like, it's like, oh no.
Yep.
Were there any standout cards of your deck? Was there anything that kind of outperformed, or was the MPV of the deck?
I mean, Thundersphere Barrage is an insane card. It was how I was killing people most of the time. I'll say Monsterverse Machine feels like a card from a different era. It feels like a retro card because it has a 1 block and a break or 2, and that's just not something we've really had. And the target commit as well. That card is just crazy, crazy to put on the table, even if it's not the most stat wise. The other card that like really did well for me was Fighting for Control, and that one kind of makes sense from a stance of like people are playing all these 5 difficulty attacks. Fighting for Control is just always going to get that value. And if they say, "Yeah, I'll fail it and play this for free with pot," great. You just you cape of no return to an attack.
Yeah.
Like that's excellent.
You basically turn it into flip, make your opponent discard a card, and waste the top card of the deck. Like, cool.
Great rate. I'll take that, yeah.
And you keep resources up for the free attack, because one of the big things that top does is they get rid of your resources, then they drop the big attack when you've got nothing left.
Yeah.
So, how are you feeling going into the finals? I mean, you've just had Tim, Keith, Barlow, Travis Tangerman. You've had a hell of a run for the Gauntlet, and then like you said, you were watching Kalvin's game in round 8, and then you look across the table and there's Kalvin.
Yeah, I mean, Kalvin's a good friend of mine. A bit of a persona in the community, very, very entertaining, I'll say. But I play against him a lot, so this was kind of like I don't think his tot deck was necessarily like particularly set up to beat Reiner or anything. He was just kind of doing the thing he liked, which was this like mono low strategy with Black Abyss and stuff, which actually had some interesting edges against me I don't have a ton of speed reductions. Black Abyss speed, especially with 2 of them, required me to check a 6 at one point, which, I did know was on top, but still pretty scary. And he got to go first as well. I was just feeling like, as his friend, he's going to beat me up for months if I win. Or if I lose to him. I'm just going to never hear the end of it. So my perspective was like, I need to win this like really badly so that I can just like not deal with it.
So if you hadn't been facing against Tyler Terra throughout the entire Top Cut, was there any other player or character in the Top Cuts, like the Annie or the Mothra, that kind of had you on edge, like, I don't want to face that?
I think the top 4 was kind of scary because I didn't know if I was facing Kalvin or Drew, and Drew's obviously a fantastic player. And it's a very different matchup. So I'm trying to like mentally prepare for the finals, and I don't know if it'll be Titan of Terror and the game will be over in 3 to 4 turns, or if it's Drew and I'll be sitting there against Mothra for 45 minutes navigating this like complex state, of all these different foundations and assets I need to deal with. So I was really like not sure how to prepare as I'm watching the games play out, because their games were very close to, and it wasn't obvious who was going to win.
No, not at all. It came down to the wire, even timing wise.
Yeah. So I think Drew is probably the one I was most afraid of from that perspective, where I would have liked to play a game with him and see how it plays out, but I hadn't tried it yet, so I just don't really know. Reiner or Salvador also on Reiner. Salvador won a regional back in the MHA era, and like when I looked at his deck list, the changes he made to Reiner were the same kind of ideas I had, including things like military airship, a couple more foundations to make your builds a little better. So that was a signal to me that he probably thinks about the deck the same way I do, which could be a spooky mirror match depending on how it plays out.
Yeah, 100%. Now, you kind of hinted to it a little bit earlier on in the finals that Game 2, you didn't think you had it.
Oh, yeah, not at all.
I mean, the result of the finals does not kind of justify how close and good those games were.
Yeah.
But was there any turning point? Was there any part of your mind where you kind of locked in and went, I've got this?
Well, I sent a walk the dog for 10 and he chose not to roam and cancel. And I looked at the cards in my hand and I'm like, I can't pass these unless I check a 6 on something, but this is enough damage. So I start playing, I roll a 5 on 2 Thunder Spears, I play the walk the dog, and I draw a 3 diff attack. And at that point I went, oh, I've rolled 3 5s. I just need 1 more and he's dead. And that was at the point where I was like, I might actually just kill him on frontside Reiner, that's never happened for me. So I was like, I mean, I can't do anything else, I think the scariest points in these games are when your opponent is in that position where they must just pass their checks. They have no option of like slowing down and building and passing, because sometimes they will just go for it like I did and get there in this very improbable scenario.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest shock to everyone in the chat at the time, was not that you won, not that you 2-0 Titan Terror, that you did it non-transform, like front face Reiner beat Titan Terror. That's not supposed to happen.
Definitely not. My hand is 5 attacks. There's like a photo that Levi took on the side. And you can just see like Walk the Dog to Inventor's Creation, which weren't worth playing because I didn't have damage on face. So they were the progressive and the printed damage. It just wasn't worth it, you know? So like I just had to do the Thunder Spear Walk the Dog thing. I saw a second Walk the Dog. I'm like, okay, here we go. And Kalvin didn't Roman cancel the first Walk the Dog. I think if he had, he actually would have won that game. I don't think I had a way around it. I would have had to play my Cardboard Crusaders differently or something. I'm actually going to go through and review, but that was my read on it, thinking back through.
But again, it's one of those things that when you're playing the Titan Tower, the aggressive deck, it's a case of, I need to save this for the attack that kills me, but the attack that killed you was the first attack that you didn't use it on.
Yeah. It's hard to like add up and get to the figure out what I could have in hand, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hindsight is 2020. Looking back, you can. I'm sure Kalvin has gone over both of those games 100 times in his head and gone what he could have played differently. As most of us do when we lose a game, we sit there and analyze, going, "How could I have won that game?"
Yeah.
So you are the first regionals champion. You've got your Worlds invite. You've got your travel vouchers, and you have a backup. You are going to be the first player You'll be the first player technically to be on a backup if we don't include that Hitch has Hitch.
Hitch does have Hitch, yes.
Have you put any thought into who you are going to be kind of commandeering?
I've had a bunch of ideas tossed around. I know that UVS is trying to figure out how they want to do this process because I'm the first one. And like sort of what the rules are, if it has to be my name, if I can be a little cute with the title, that sort of stuff. I think Little Mister with my I have a 1.5-year-old puppy. I think that'd be really, really cute. I could do ones that people would want to play, you know, for the sake of seeing myself in play. But at the regional, I said 9 Titans, and my reason for that was like the first backup that like I really played and saw success with. But it's not one that people would put in play because it's banned, right?
Yeah.
So I have a couple options. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do, but yeah, I guess we'll kind of see.
Are you allowed to wait and see if like Tekken or Fairy Tail bring any backups and go, I'll have one of those instead? Get the maximum legality.
I don't know. I might be able to wait a little bit, but I feel like at a certain point they'll start coming to me like, come on, we got to pick something. We got to make up your mind.
Are you going to try and make it legal for Mitchell's deck so you can be played with Mitchell?
Well, JJ has requested that I am playable in him. The problem is he has no AOT symbols. So that makes it really hard.
Yeah. If only 9 Titans wasn't banned.
Yeah, I could put 9 Titans in there,
yeah. I am a bit sad they walked back the you could be a shift attack backup, because that would have been...
Yeah, you know, just print the backside of the shift, and not the attack is fine. You know, you still have to have the shift attack, and you can just put me in play, but... No, I don't think they want to do it.
Just slap you in a suit of armor and put you on the iron shift attack.
Yeah.
So, LC Season 2 coming up. Are you going to be taking part, or is this you done till Worlds?
Yeah, no, I was planning to go to a couple LCs. I'm still going to go. I might play something a little more fun now that I'm kind of lower stakes. I'm going to focus on, I'm commentating Vegas. So that's something where I'm going to put most of my prep work in. I think we're going to be like doing practice runs for that and feel like we want to make sure we give quality content there. Aside from just, obviously Ryan and I are good friends, so the vibe is there already, but you know, we want to make sure we are able to commentate well. So we'll be practicing for that for sure.
You getting some practice with the TTPLC recordings?
So those were actually done, I think, by some of the MGLA guys. I don't believe I got a chance to do those. We're gonna record some TTS games, I think, and talk over them, and then I'll loop up with Barrett as well, because he has a ton of experience with it.
You know, get nice and warmed up, figure out exactly what your caster voice is going to be.
Yeah.
I've got nothing else kind of going. It's been an absolutely amazing chat. I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to be playing at the LCs, because now, like you said, you can have a bit of fun. Maybe we'll see some Fire Rodan from you.
Fire Rodan? Whoa. I might do a spicy Rodan. I don't know about a fire. I'm a Biollante enjoyer, but it was something where I never felt like it was quite there, so I might give a crack at that. Might be.
there is a very good Biolante referee jury list going around because you can just keep picking it back up and go, yeah, I'll keep taking 4. It seems like a lot of fun.
That makes sense, yeah.
So you're going to be commentating Vegas. Then I forgot what the last one is.
Then we have Dallas in July. I unfortunately can't go to that one. So actually this lined up very well doing this while in Chicago.
Because you're commentating Vegas, you can't do Dallas. So it would then just be Worlds.
Yeah, I don't know. There might be Atlanta, I think, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, hopefully I'll see you at Worlds.
For sure, yeah.
I'll let you get off to enjoy the rest of the evening because you kind of finished work and jumped straight into this to do me a favour. I guess my last question is something I've kind of been bugging you about for the last 6 months. Did you ever get to drink the Iron Brew?
He didn't give it to me.
What?
I don't know where it is. Mitchell, if you're watching this, there's a certain drink I'm supposed to try that I've asked you maybe 3 or 4 times for, but
I specifically bought a bottle of Iron Brew and gave it to Mitchell to give to you. He may have forgotten because he did decide to eat haggis and black pudding and all the British staples of food, and they mess you up.
Yeah, well, he's been pretty busy because the TTP official store is opening and all that, so I know he's had a lot on his plate. But
between the Universus content, TTP, his own practice games and LCs, and then on top of that, he's also very active with the Grand Archive content that TTP puts out. He's very, very busy, very, very active within the team, but it's very cool to see. Where can people find more of you?
I'm usually just kind of active on Discord. I have my YouTube channel, which I post on occasionally, not super often. The Werewolf podcast is kind of on hold for now. I think it's just people are busy, is what it is. I stream sort of infrequently on Twitch. It's Werewolf there. I'll probably be streaming actually maybe tonight to look at my VOD run. I don't know. We'll see. But those are the socials where you can find me. I'm just Wub in the main Discord, though. You can always message me. I'll respond.
Yeah, you're very active and a very well-known community member. And that's why kind of as you were playing, although there were some very big names up there, you could see the chat was kind of... there was a lot of Wub being mentioned in the chat. And because not only are you a community staple, but you were playing... something over the Titan of Terror, which both your community stats up.
Yeah, see, Titan of Terror is fine. It didn't win the regional.
Yeah, exactly. There was over 20 there. Only 9 made it into top 16, and only 2 made it into top 4. So it's not Kirishima 1 levels.
Yeah, not quite. Well, thanks for having me on.
No worries. I'll let you get off. We'll see what happens in May. Hopefully, Titan of Terror will be less of a terror. I'll let you. I keep saying I'm going to let you get off. Big thanks for being here. Absolutely love it. Hopefully, get more chance to chat and play in the future. And for Theories, News and more, win, lose or draw, keep it UK versus. We'll see you all next time. Bye.